Mr. Beheshti, I'm sure there are lots of people who have many questions about your role in this game. So please tell everybody about your political affiliation. Whom are you related to? What are your beliefs concerning politics?
That's a very, very good question, because this was one of the main questions which I was facing from the beginning. And my answer is still the same. I am not affiliated with any political party, with any political groups, and I am focused on overthrowing the Iranian regime, Islamic Republic of regime. So at this moment that we are talking, I think, and I have a dream. My dream is all the different political groups, different groups of Iranian opposition, united against the Iranian regime, regardless of their political view. At this time, I think the constitution that we have from the Shah time and from previous, it called قانون اساسی مشروطیت, that can be the pillar, the charter of unity between all these different groups. Because legally, that's the only thing that we have. And of course, that's the that was based on monarchies. But to go first through over this regime, we have to be united around one pillar. And we saw what happened in Georgetown last year when Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi and Mr. Ismailion, Masih Ali Nejad, and others, Mr. Muhtadi and others, they gathered and they created the first circle against the Iranian regime. When they published, they wrote their charters, that was the point which this circle and unity was destroyed. Because when it comes to writing the charter, we have different political views, we have different views, and we cannot write something that will be we all can agree on that, but we have something which Iranians before they agreed on that, and until now, from, if I say, I don't know how to, it was about قانون اساسی مشروطیت, the constitution law that we have from 100 years ago, which was formed. We never had until today, in this more than 100 years,
So
even
constitutional monarchy.
Yes, we didn't even have one demonstration against that constitution. So that's the constitution, which is the very similar, I can say, is the copy, actually a copy of the Belgium constitution. So that's the secular and democratic constitution which we have, which we never had even one demonstration against that constitution, and legally we have that by law. So my view is this: at this moment, we all different opposition groups, we can unite around that constitution law we have, constitution law monarchy we have, and then we can, after overthrowing this regime, we can go through different phases and steps.
I get that. That's your vision. Now, let's see. Realities are a bit different. So the point of departure might be a bit different than your vision.
That's a reality actually, because that's the only thing that we have, Mr. Gobel.
Yes, that's from the legal point of view. But from the point of view of people's minds, there are people who are strictly monarchists. There are people who are strictly leftists. There are people who are strictly mujahideen cultists, and so on. What is your relation to the monarchists? And what is your relation to Reza Pahlavi, for example?
If you're asking about Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, he's the secular democrat person, and he's, as far as I understand, always he's focusing exactly on what I am focusing as well.
Okay, so you make a difference between him and monarchists who are more like in a different world than him.
Definitely. His point of view is this constantly. He's been shouting for years. His priority is overthrowing the regime. The first is come first. And he wants to be there for everyone, for all the groups, not just related and labeled with the monarchist people. So that's point of view, which I believe on his point of view, absolutely. And he was, don't forget, he was the first person who came with Miss Shirin Ebadi here on the 5th day of my hunger strike, when nobody knew I am here. So the first person who came and visited me here, it was Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi and Miss Shirin Ebadi, the Nobel Peace Prize winner. So he's been fighting, I think, for Iran. He could have I would say, easy life, not having all this, but he decided to go through all that, and he's dedicating his life to fight the Iranian regime. And from my point of view, he's got the same point of view as I have.
Beautiful. Now, what is your relation to leftist groups?
So there is no relationship between me and leftist group, but I believe they are there and they have to be there. We cannot delete any groups, even Mujahideen. That's the argue of many radical groups with me when it comes to Mujahideen and when it comes to lefty. So Iran is a very diverse land. Iran is a very diverse country. We have different point of view politically, ideology, the religious, and everything. So we have to accept each other, and in the free and democratic atmosphere, after overthrowing this regime, different groups, they come, they put their plans on the table, and they talk to people about their plans, about who they are, about their ideology, about what they are going to do for Iran, and then people in the free and democratic atmosphere, they will go behind the ballot box and first they choose what they want. But my point of view for this, the constitution law, monarchy law that we have is the best charter at the moment that we have. We can go through all these legally with that constitution law that we have. That's my point of view.
So let's get back to the Mujahideen. Some people think that you might be naive in including Mujahideen because they have a story of terroristic activities. They have a story of violence, of strong violence inside the group against other groups, against the regime as well, of course, and of course against other people. So why do you still think they should be included?
It's not about me. Who am I to include Mujahideen or not include Mujahideen? Mujahideen are not there yesterday. Mujahideen, they are there for over 50 years. So no one can delete them.
So would you not think that they might overtake your work? They take it over as opportunists and
Look, that's up to me. That's up to me. I cannot delete my opposition because of my weakness. I have to make myself more stronger. But the great opposition, the strong opposition, is necessary for the democracy, for a democratic country. Mujahideen is one of the groups. They are fighting the regime for 45 years. They paid a great price, over 120 lives. They sacrificed 120,000. Sorry, 120,000 lives. So no one can delete them. How can you delete them? Why? Because that goes against all the principles that we believe.
Okay.
They are there, they have their own ideology, and they have to have a platform in the future of Iran to, if they are after power, to tell the Iranians who they are, what is their ideology, what is their plan, and then people are going to choose.
And if they don't accept that they will not be chosen, again not be chosen.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if they are not if they will not be chosen by the people, are they going to react in a violent way again?
I cannot predict that now because we are not there yet. I can go with my assumption. I'm not a mind reader, but in 21st century, I don't think if we have a great free and democratic society, we should be fearful of those things. We have to make ourselves strong. That's where I am focusing.
So how do you make a society strong in a political way?
In a political way, that's one way is to create different parties. Of course, at the moment you cannot do that under this dictatorship, but after overthrowing the regime, people are definitely, I believe, they are going to have different parties in Iran, which we don't even can think now. We cannot even visualize. But I think there are going to be different parties, strong parties, with young people, with youth, which if Mujahideen or any other group wants to compete with, they are going to have a very hard time. Of course, Mujahideen are very organized, and this is what put other groups in fear, and what other groups fear from this. They are very organized. They think, oh, they might just take over quickly, but we cannot delete them because they are organized.
Okay, so how do you make the opposition strong then? Besides,
We have to work together. That's the thing. And even I said to, because it's not that the other groups they don't want Mujahideen. Even Mujahideen they have a problem themselves because they are very close as well. They don't even open themselves to any other groups. So my suggestion is, Mujahideen, they know what they're going to do themselves. It's not up to me. They have their own policy. They have their own ideology.
So you
but
wouldn't invite them to work with you, but as well you don't
no,
want to fight them.
no, not with me. With all other oppositions, we have to come together on the very basic demand that we have, on the basic common interest, which is Iran. which is Iran. And that's the first one, Iran. We all want Iran, free Iran. For that, we have to overthrow this regime. So any groups wants to overthrow this regime, they can work together, at least on this basis. We can fight each other after overthrowing this regime in the free way, in the democratic way, same as here, compete with each other when it comes to the election and the other activities, which comes later. But I think we have to be united. But if we can't, we can't. They can do their jobs, we can do our jobs, we can do our work, but we shouldn't attack each other. That is my point. If we cannot unite and work together, at least we should not attack each other.
Okay, that's a basic claim. We should not attack each other. And
because this
to be honest with you, I've never seen you attack any other groups.
That's because that's my principle from the beginning.
I've seen a lot of people attacking you, raising claims, and this is one of the tactics the regime actually uses to sow discord, because they live from you guys who are not united.
Exactly.
They can still live because of you guys who do not unite. So what would be, from the point of view of now, what would be a next step towards unification of opposition groups?
I think this is my wish and the focus of my activities, to unite the different groups that they can work together on this very basic common interest, overthrowing the regime. Okay, around this is what I'm putting on the table, around the constitution law that we have. The people, they don't accept that, they don't accept that. They're doing their work, they're fighting, they're having their fight with the regime. Of course, that's perfect. We are not going to attack each other, but the people who can work together and unite around this charter, that is my proposal.
Are you a leader of this opposition, or are you a coordinator of unification?
I am not, I don't call myself leader. I am part of this ocean of opposition who try everything in my power, in my capacity, to bring the like-minded people and the people who can work together against this regime.
So please name some opposition leaders. Who are leaders of opposition?
Look, this is one of the area that it's very, I would say, dangerous to go in. But from one side, of course, Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, he's the leader. All the monarchies, the people who believe in monarchies, they believe him, and legally he is by that constitution law, because he swore in Egypt after the 2 years after the 1979, he swore on that constitution law. So he is, by that constitution law, he is the king. So he is the head of the monarchies. So he is the leader, of course, but he wants himself to be for everyone, not just for the monarchies group, the people for that just specific group. So that could be one of them. And my point is this: instead of focusing on leader, who is leader, let's focus on the constitution law that we have. That can bring us together, and by that, of course, Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, he is the head of that movement.
Okay, so what would be the first step to go towards this?
Towards
to unite some people, some figures. How would you do that?
to the, first, we have a discussion, which is in the process.
Okay.
To first talk, to see the people who believe in that concept, because that's the only things legally we have, legally. And at this time, it's impossible to come up with some kind of charter for any kind of unity that will be approved by Iranians, because we cannot, how can we get the approval of Iranians in this situation? But this is something that we have. At least we can start with this. So the groups that they believe in this, we are in contact, we are going to work with, to see how can we will be united around this. That's the step that we are in at this time.